example of what I'm looking for the one-page assessment that includes goals and a commentary on how you kind of manage to negotiate between time and quality. At the top, I want you to put your goals, so I'm clear of what you're looking at. I'd also like you to indicate the level of cognition. This is the math material that we used in the beginning of the year, looked at briefly. And some of the things that we did where we talked about what the goal would be at the end of the day. For this material, I was saying that students will be able to solve division problems with remainders, and we had these extra guidelines about they were single-digit quotients and single-digit remainders who weren't working with tens at all, really. They were just regrouping a bunch of ones. Regrouping tens comes in lesson 2. We wanted them to be able to represent division problems visually with counters, and we also wanted them to solve them both in number sentences and word problems. So those are my major goals, right? I have goal 1A, which is gathered right here, and then goal 1B1, which is different number sentences, and I have different formats, you see. And then I have my story problems at the very end. Now, when I want you to talk about how you managed to get good quality without having too much time, things I'll be looking for, how many times do you ask a question, what format did you choose, and so on. So for example, when I look at this first goal that students will be able to use counters to represent division problems, I could have them draw things out. I could have them make up their own. I could do a lot of things. But in order for me to know whether they have the skill or not, I think that they can just pick it out of a lineup. So I'm going to give it to them. 7 divided by 3. Again, I have to ask myself, well, what is that going to look like? And I have some different options. Now, option 1 in this case is the right option. When I'm thinking about other mistakes that kids might make, they might have 3 groups here. Another option I could add in here are 4 groups, one for that extra one, and so on. But it might look like this. I have a feeling some students might look like this, where they just kind of start dividing things up and forget to leave one out. And so I want to set this up so it's simple for the students to count. I don't want to have big numbers and have them be counting like 22 different circles in each square. So I want to keep these numbers really small because that will tell me if they have the skill or not. I look at the next one, 11 divided by 4, same kind of thing. Here, this is the right answer. I have, again, some other options that they might go with, where they put 3 in each one. That's 12 divided by 4. And this one, again, is not right, where they just started distributing them, kind of like the same error here. And I'd want to know if they made that error, and that's what they were working on. And if they did both of those, I would have pretty good evidence that that's the misconception that they have. So it's not just about having 2 items, right? It's also about what those items are made of. In this case, small, simple numbers, common misconceptions, right? And I probably can get away with 2 here because this is one of those skills that if they're going to make the same error over and over, why would I need them to make it 3 times? I'm not really worried about their dividing skills right now. I'm just worried about whether they get this whole idea of a pictorial representation. If I look at my second part, I have 8 total problems. So I have 2 division problems here, 8 here, and then I'm going to have 2 word problems at the bottom. This is my goal BI. Note that, again, I keep numbers relatively simple and small. Also note that the number that or the divisor in each case changes because, again, number facts are kind of weird and that they are based on recall. And I want to test to see whether or not they can do each one of these different divisors. I have some that are repeated twice throughout, but I want to get good sampling. I also, if we solve these problems, we would notice that I have a lot of different remainders. And so I want to make sure that they can isolate not just what the answer is in terms of the divisor, but I also want to give them a variety of different remainders. So I want that balanced across my different items. I'm not going to give them multiple choice in this case. I want them to calculate. This is one of those things where whether they do a multiple choice or not, it's really not going to take them any longer to calculate it, right? The calculation or the time to take is the same whether I put it in multiple choice or matching or whatever. Actually, this is probably the fastest way. In terms of grading, because there is a right answer, and because I will get good diagnostic information, if they get the answer wrong, it will be quick. Finally, I have 2 word problems, right? Again, I'm working with a specific type of word problem where they just have to kind of pull the important information out. I ask them 2 specific questions: how many students are in each classroom, how many students are left over. I would have to train them on what this means, right? In this case, I'd have to say that we're talking like there are an equal number of students in each classroom, and then there are some students left over. Just like here, everyone gets the same number of candy bars, and then there's going to be some left over. Otherwise, some students might answer differently, much along the lines of these 2 answers, where, right, if I only have 3 classrooms, well, I kind of got to put them in here, right? Somebody, that last remaining student, has to go into one of those classrooms. They just won't be equal anymore. So I would have to make sure I train them in how to answer this. If you are telling me how you got around, right, the time quality issue here, because 1, these take longer for students to do because it requires some reading, and because I don't want reading to be an impediment, I keep the sentence structure simple. I keep the questions direct, and I can probably get by with just 2 of these because, again, I'm not measuring whether or not they know how to divide. In this case, I'm really getting at whether they can pull the division problem out of a story. And that's it. And again, because that is a skill that will be obviously there or not, I will only need them to do it once or twice. And that's it. So good luck. Remember to keep those videos under a minute.